Imagine touching an object so cursed, so steeped in centuries of dark legend, that everything around you begins to spiral into chaos. Accidents, near-death experiences, and misfortune that defies reason. For most people, it's just a horror story. For Post Malone, it became reality. In the span of just a few months, Post Malone faced near-death plane crashes, car accidents, and stage mishaps, all after coming into contact with one of the most haunted objects in the world, the dybbuk box. To understand the curse, we first need to understand the man at its center. Austin Richard Post, better known as Post Malone, was born in Syracuse, New York in 1995. From the beginning, he was drawn to music. His parents noticed his unusual fascination with sound, rhythm, and melody. By the time he was a teenager, Post was experimenting with guitars, drum machines, and computer production software in his bedroom. Post's big break came in 2015 with his single White Iverson. Suddenly, the world couldn't get enough of his unique blend of rap, rock, and pop. Overnight, he became a global phenomenon, a young artist living the dream. But as his fame skyrocketed, something strange began to happen. Unexplained accidents, misfortune, and eerie coincidences started to follow him, a pattern so bizarre that fans and media began whispering about a curse. And that curse, some say it all began with a single object, the dybbuk box. The dybbuk box is no ordinary antique. Rooted in Jewish folklore, a dybbuk is a malicious spirit of a dead person that can possess the living. Legend has it, the box contains one such spirit, trapped, angry, and seeking chaos. Over the years, the dybbuk box has passed through countless owners. Many reported strange occurrences, terrifying nightmares, illnesses, fires, and mysterious accidents. The box became infamous online, a symbol of supernatural misfortune. But one of the most chilling chapters began when Post Malone crossed paths with it. In 2018, Post visited the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, owned by paranormal investigator Zach Bagans. Among the many haunted artifacts, there was the dybbuk box, caged, warned against, and notoriously unpredictable. In videos from that day, Post is seen laughing and joking as he peers inside the cage, touching the box, jokingly mocking its powers. Shortly after that visit, reports of bizarre accidents and near misses began to surface, almost as if the box had decided Post was its next target. Was it coincidence? Or did the dybbuk box, steeped in centuries of darkness, unleash a string of chaos upon one of the world's biggest stars? Next, we dive into the terrifying series of events that made fans question if Post Malone was truly cursed. Shortly after the dybbuk box encounter, a series of unnerving incidents began to follow Post Malone, fueling the growing speculation of a curse. In 2018, his private jet faced a terrifying emergency when multiple tires blew out shortly after takeoff, forcing the plane to make a harrowing emergency landing, leaving passengers shaken and questioning how such a disaster could occur. Not long after, an armed home invasion at a property he had once lived in added another layer of fear and unpredictability to his life, reminding fans that danger seemed to shadow him wherever he went. That same year, Post was involved in a serious car accident when his Rolls-Royce was T-boned in West Hollywood, an incident that could have been far more catastrophic if luck hadn't intervened. Even on stage, misfortune seemed to lurk in the shadows. During performances, Post narrowly avoided dangerous falls, including a near-tragic incident in Saint-Louis where he stumbled through a hole in the stage, highlighting the almost supernatural timing of these accidents. Fans began connecting the dots, noting that every close call, every unexpected mishap seemed to follow the dybbuk box visit, and social media erupted with theories that Post had somehow become the target of a malevolent force. Skeptics chalked it up to coincidence and the inherent risks of fame and travel, but believers saw it as undeniable proof. The cursed box had marked him. Each incident, when viewed in succession, created an eerie pattern. Planes, cars, and stages seemed to conspire against him, reinforcing the chilling narrative that Post Malone was no longer just a superstar. He was a man dancing with fate, under the watchful eye of an ancient, unseen force. As the string of accidents and near misses continued to pile up, fans, journalists, and paranormal enthusiasts began to speculate wildly about the nature of Post Malone's misfortune. Online forums, Reddit threads, and social media exploded with theories linking every mishap directly into the dybbuk box encounter, with some insisting that Post had unwittingly invited the curse by mocking or even just touching the haunted artifact. Skeptics argued that the timing was purely coincidental, pointing to the inherent risks of touring life, expensive cars, and high-profile events. Yet even they couldn't deny the uncanny sequence of events that seemed to shadow him. Believers went further, dissecting each accident, from plane emergencies to car crashes to onstage slips, as evidence that the box had figured him out as its next host for chaos. Cultural commentators noted that humans have long sought patterns in cause and effect in misfortune, especially when it touches the lives of celebrities, turning them into living symbols of curses or supernatural interference. The narrative of Post Malone's curse resonated with fans precisely because it combined real-life danger with the timeless allure of haunted objects, turning headlines into modern folklore. In this way, the dybbuk box was no longer just a haunted artifact in a museum. It had become a legend intertwined with the life of one of the biggest musical stars of our generation, leaving the world to wonder whether Post Malone was simply unlucky or if something far darker had taken notice of him. The story of Post Malone's supposed curse doesn't exist in a vacuum. The dybbuk box itself has a long and disturbing history that predates his encounter, and many believe that the chaos surrounding him is part of a pattern linked to the box's malevolent influence. Before Post ever laid eyes on it, previous owners reported bizarre phenomena, terrifying nightmares, mysterious illnesses, financial ruin, and even unexplained fires, leading some to conclude that the box brings misfortune to anyone who dares to possess it. Paranormal investigator Zach Bagans, who famously housed the artifact in his haunted museum, has described the box as unpredictable and dangerous, recounting incidents where people who merely stood near it experienced sudden dizziness, anxiety, and physical ailments. Comparisons have been drawn to other infamous cursed objects in history, like the Annabelle doll or the Hope Diamond, each known to wreak havoc on those in their proximity. Cultural fascination with cursed items runs deep, and Post's experience fits neatly into this narrative, transforming a real-world celebrity into a modern-day cautionary tale about the dangers of interacting with the supernatural. Whether one believes in spirits or not, the eerie coincidences surrounding the dybbuk box, and now Post Malone, invite the unsettling question: can an object carry the weight of a curse across decades, touching lives with inexplicable misfortune? Or is it merely a mirror reflecting our own fears of the unknown? Despite the swirling rumors and the growing fan obsession with the so-called curse, Post Malone himself has approached the incidents with his signature mix of humor and laid-back charm, often shrugging off questions about the dybbuk box and the string of misfortunes that followed it. In interviews, he's admitted that while some of the accidents were undeniably unsettling, he refuses to let fear or superstition dictate his life, joking with reporters and fans that people just need to chill out, and that he's still doing what he loves. Yet, beneath the humor lies a subtle acknowledgement of the eerie timing and the uncanny nature of the events, suggesting that even he can't fully ignore the pattern of near misses and chaotic occurrences. His calm demeanor, combined with his continued success and relentless work ethic, paints a picture of a man who, whether cursed or merely unlucky, refuses to be controlled by forces beyond his understanding. In doing so, Post Malone embodies a fascinating duality: a world-famous musician seemingly under the shadow of supernatural misfortune, yet thriving and smiling through it, turning the narrative of a potential curse into a story of resilience, determination, and perhaps even cosmic irony. Over time, the chaos surrounding Post Malone has continued to spark debate, leaving fans and observers to wonder if the curse ever truly ends, or if it is still quietly lingering, waiting for the next strange incident to occur. Despite the accidents, the near misses, and the eerie timing of events following his encounter with the dybbuk box, Post has remained remarkably successful, releasing hit after hit, performing for millions, and maintaining his unique presence in the music world. This ongoing tension between misfortune and triumph creates a compelling narrative. Whether the curse is real or merely a series of coincidences amplified by superstition, it highlights the extraordinary resilience of an artist who refuses to be defined by fear. And perhaps that is the true story of Post Malone's so-called curse, not a tale of defeat, but of surviving chaos, embracing life, and continuing to thrive even under the shadow of uncertainty. So, what do you think? Is Post Malone truly cursed? Or is he just an extraordinarily unlucky, or perhaps extraordinarily lucky, musician whose life happens to read like a modern horror story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more chilling tales from the world of music, celebrities, and the unexplained.